Today I'm gonna take you through the process of drawing this extremely detailed pen and ink drawing. But first I'm gonna grab some coffee, of course. There are gonna be a few steps involved. First a graphite sketch, a graphite underdrawing. Then I'm gonna trace everything with ink, do some shading, draw the swirls that are surrounding it, paint them red, give it some really thick outlines making it pop, and then charcoal background to making it really jump off the page. The centerpiece of this drawing is gonna be this huge saber-tooth tiger skull. I did a little bit of sketching here in my little sketch pad, also experimenting with the red swirls that I wanted to be surrounded by coming out in the background. They're smoke or fog or water or some other red substances, whatever you want it to be basically. To me it looks more like smoke. But doing basic sketches, smaller sketches of your designs or your ideas is always a very good idea, so you can see what works and how the design is gonna play out. I do this for all my bigger designs, like in these two videos. Definitely check those out when you're done here. So yeah, but I wanted to be surrounded by these red smoke swirls, so we'll see how that works out. The first step, of course, is to get some big piece of paper, and after that I'm gonna do a basic sketch, a basic underdrawing of this skull. It's gonna be a little bit bigger than a lot of my other drawings, so I'm just having fun with that. I have a lot of reference on my screen at this moment right there. There is a ton of reference. I have Google Images open and I'm just looking at images that look vaguely like the angle of the skull that I want it to be in. So reference, of course, always good, but making sure I have like real reference, not art by other artists that might interpret things differently. So real reference photos, always the best reference to use in your drawings. But yeah, the sketching, the underdrawing, the most important part, because if that's gonna be off when you go in with ink or with paint or whatever you're doing later, it's gonna look off. So I have a few videos on sketching, check those out. Always practice your sketching, just have fun with that. Have fun with sketching, it's a nice practice, and it's gonna show when you're doing bigger drawing, bigger projects or paintings. Your drawing skill is always gonna be the baseline. And if you're a little bit on the more beginner spectrum, I can always recommend to draw skulls or learn how to draw skulls without reference. First you need reference, of course, then just draw them from memory. I draw them from memory a lot of the times. It's very fun to draw. You can experiment with shading and details. They just look cool, and even if you're off from your reference, even though skulls are always going to look cool, and you're always going to have a cool drawing that you can be proud of, and it's going to motivate you to keep going and keep practicing. But now that I have the basic form of the skull down, the centerpiece, the most important piece, it's time to think about how I'm gonna approach those smoke swirls, or just swirls or liquid or whatever it is. Again, I have an extra video just on practicing smoke swirls, finding your style, how to draw them, and there's a little preview. Definitely check out that video after you're done here. Big centerpiece, the skull, it's already down. So now it's just, adding this little artistic things here. And I'm really taking my time with those, really thinking about where I lay them down, where they're gonna come out, which shape they're gonna have, so they're not too distracting, because I want to paint them red, as you've seen in the preview and in the sketch. So I don't want them to be too distracting from the centerpiece. I want them to enhance the centerpiece. I don't want to take away from it. And that's very difficult, because they're gonna be vibrantly red. So I'm not gonna have them overlap too much. I want them to come out of the eyes and of the nostrils, but that would be way too distracting, I think. So I'm not gonna have them overlap the saber tooths themselves, and I'm not gonna have them too much on the skull and not too much overlapping. So yeah, again, my drawing is being interrupted by a little furry visitor, wanting me to take a break or reminding me to drink some water, probably. Or just wanting to check out what I'm doing here with her relatives. But yeah, now it's time to go in finally with ink. Hooray! Finally! Ink, my favorite part of the drawing. Taking a ballpoint pen. I'm just using a ballpoint pen for the small details here. Just tracing some stuff that I think is important. I'm drawing with multiple black ink pens here. Using this small black ballpoint pen for the details and everything, and I have some thicker pens that I'm gonna use for the outlines and the really dark spots, and to enhance the shading. So that's a pen and ink drawing after all, so I never shy away from an opportunity to use my really dark ink pens that lay down really thick black ink. I really like that, making the drawing pop. It's actually really funny. What inspired me to draw this was I think a YouTube video of, was it the British Museum or something, or some museum in London or Cambridge, I don't know, because I'm flying to London actually tomorrow. So and I did some research on what places to visit, and I landed on the YouTube channel of this museum, and they showcased the saber-toothed tiger skull, this Smilodon, I think it's called, Smilodon, the correct scientific name. I'm not a scientist. And they said that the saber-toothed tiger could open its mouth to like 180 degrees, so like really wide, past its very long teeth. Obviously they wouldn't be able to fit any food in their mouth, so that looks very freakishly when they showcase it with the skull, when she just opens the jaw and it just keeps going and keeps going, keeps not going. 180 degrees, that's absolutely insane. That must have looked very scary and freakishly when those were still alive. I didn't know that they could do it. Yeah, cool scientific facts with Lawrence. Subscribe to the channel for more scientific facts. Well, no, actually not. Subscribe if you want to see more drawing practice and just cool drawing and art projects in general. Next 2 steps. Gonna be the biggest step, obviously, is the shading, as you can see. Very tedious, very long process. And you need to be focused with that. It's a skull after all. I don't want it to be too dark. So just emphasizing the really dark spots that need to be shaded. Using a variety of pens, my ballpoint pen, some really dark ink pens for the really dark spots, and the spots where I want the shading to be emphasized. That takes a lot of time, so the footage here is really sped up. But it's the most fun part in a way, because you see the drawing come to life and looking three-dimensional, jumping off the paper in a way. But it's also, of course, if you're in it, it's so tedious and but it's totally worth it. After I'm done with the shading, I'm gonna trace the skull again with a really thick black document liner, I think. It doesn't matter. It just lays down really thick black ink lines to trace the outlines and making it, giving it this comic style or tattoo style sort of appearance, and making it pop again. And then it's time to find out which pen I'm gonna use for the red smoke swirls. I have a few contenders here. My main contender was this really thick red edding. It's like a Sharpie with the really thick felt tip. That was the best choice because it could cover the most ground, but I found that the smaller felt tip pen that you can see right here just has a little bit more of a vibrant red, and you know, I was like, okay, I'm gonna invest the time and just use the smaller one. Even though it would go way faster with the bigger felt tip. But yeah, just doing some painting by numbers, I think it's called, you know. Just chilling out, watching something in the background, and just, yeah, just filling it out, making sure that I cover it evenly, so there are no spots that are darker or lighter, that you can't see the streaks of the felt tip pen. Also very important. So those swirls have the solid red appearance that I'm after. And after I'm done filling them out with red, I'm gonna come in again with this thick ink pen and trace them again, and also make them really pop by giving them those thick black outlines. Really satisfying to see everything being filled in, and the red swirls enhancing the design in the foreground. And I'm gonna come in also with charcoal at the very end, and giving it another background, a more muted dark background, to make the skull, the bright parts of the skull really pop even more, and giving it this really cool appearance. So when I'm done with the red swirls, I'm gonna trace their outlines with the thick black ink pen, and then I'm gonna come in with charcoal and give it this muted background and really make it jump off the page. So this is the finished product. I hope you like it. If you like this video, give me the thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, check out my Instagram, and yeah, I hope I'll see you around on the channel. Okay, take care, bye bye.